Community analysis presentation for Tarpon Springs, Florida, St. Petersburg College, Shannon Yacobellis. Historical overview of Tarpon Springs. The first settlers of Tarpon Springs arrived along the banks of Anclote River about 150 years ago after the end of the Civil War. In 1855, post-Civil War, 4 million acres of land was purchased by a wealthy saw manufacturer from Philadelphia named Hamilton Diston through the Florida Internal Improvement Fund. The road layout for Tarpon Springs started in 1882. The first school was built in 1882 by Anson P.K. Safford. He also gave land to churches. The first female practicing physician was Dr. Mary Jane Safford. She opened a private practice in Tarpon Springs. Tarpon Springs became the first incorporated city on the Pinellas Peninsula in 1887. In 1887, the first railroad, known as the Orange Belt Railway, came to Tarpon Springs, and this allowed for economic development. By 1900, Tarpon Springs was the largest sponge port in the United States. In 1905, John Corcus, a sponge buyer, brought 500 divers from the Greek islands to Tarpon Springs. He also brought the first mechanized sponge fishing boat to Tarpon Springs. In 1908, the Sponge Exchange was founded. The sponge industry was very successful until 1938, when a great blight spread through the waters of Tarpon Springs and killing most of the sponge population. Today, tourism is the major industry in Tarpon Springs. Thousands of people visit Tarpon Springs every year. The major tourist sites include the historical sponge docks, Greek Orthodox Church, and the Spring Bayou, where the Epiphany is held every January. Tarpon Springs has one charter school, 3 elementary schools, 1 middle school, 2 high schools, and numerous preschool programs. Tarpon Springs residents have great school spirit, especially when it comes to city's rivalries between 2 high schools every year. Tarpon Springs High School is located near the beaches, and Eastlake High School is located on the other side of Lake Tarpon. There are 3 schools that are within walking distance to each other, and the beaches, including elementary school, middle school, and high school. This makes commuting very easy for families that have different aged children. St. Petersburg College has a Tarpon Springs campus offering a variety of degrees and programs. The Lipa Ratner Museum of Art is located in the Tarpon Springs SPC campus. That campus has been designed with Greek heritage in mind. The Tarpon Springs Library is located downtown and offers free memberships along with reading and computer classes and free movie showings. The Road Construction Division is responsible for the maintenance and safety of the roads in Tarpon Springs. This is very important to maintain the appearance of Tarpon Springs. There are many old brick roads throughout the town that support the old town feel that the residents and tourists enjoy. A very popular street for tourism is the Tarpon Springs Avenue. The Pinellas County Bike Trail runs through this road, making it easy access for tourists traveling to the shops and many festivals throughout the year. The Pinellas Trail is right at the bottom of a hill on Tarpon Springs Avenue and is a very high traffic area. This poses as a safety risk for pedestrians. Pinellas Avenue is the main street in Tarpon Springs, also known as Alternate 19. This is the main road that connects Tarpon Springs to its neighboring cities. This road is only a 2-lane highway. Traffic can get very congested, and there are always several areas with foundation problems. Also, it floods in several areas. One specific area is in front of the golf pond, and it's right next to the hospital, the only hospital in Tarpon Springs, Florida Hospital of North Pinellas. Any resident of Tarpon Springs knows which streets flood or not, and this is also true for the mayor of Tarpon Springs, Mayor David O. Archie. He openly agrees with the need to repair the roadways during the Board of Commission meeting for the Stormwater Rate Study Workshop. The Stormwater Rate Study Workshop improves the flooding roads around Tarpon Springs by repairing roads, adding ponds, and replacing sewer systems to increase drainage. This stormwater project is a must for the maintenance of Tarpon Springs, but it is going to cost the city an increase in taxes. Hasn't been an increase in this tax bracket for 14 years, unlike the neighboring cities of Tarpon Springs. The projects that have already been completed by this program are amazing. It will be worth it to the residents of Tarpon Springs. The tourism industry will also be grateful, for there will be less flooded roads and detours throughout the town. Analysis of the population. Population found during the community assessment assignment included an increase in Tarpon Springs population by 3.1% since 2010. Population at last census was greater than 24,000 for Tarpon Springs, and last census for Florida was greater than 19 million. I did not find any major issues with the population for Tarpon Springs during the community assessment assignment. There is plenty of housing and services available for the population. The only possible issue is the homeless population. Because of the many services, this has increased the number of homeless in the area, but the services are available for them, so that's a good thing. Population health concern. One major health concern for Florida is chronic hepatitis C virus, affecting 1,383 people in the years 2014 to 2015. Chronic hepatitis C affects 3.2 million Americans, and in 2011 the economic burden was 6.5 million. Over the past 2 decades, treatments has rapidly evolved. In 2011, the direct-acting antivirals became available, and the recent availability of the first all-oral regimens for HCV are expected to reduce the burden of HCV on the U.S. With the availability of the new treatments, the HCV infection could become a rare disease in the next 22 years. Health-related resources and availability. Florida Hospital of North Pinellas is the only hospital in Tarpon Springs. It is a 168-bed hospital that offers 24/7 care to all people, no matter where the person lives. The cost of services depends on the patient's insurance. There are over 300 physicians with privileges to this location. The Pinellas County Health Department offers many free services to the community 5 days a week. The clinical and nutritional services include primary care, dental, lab testing, breast and cervical cancer early detection, immunizations, WIC, family planning, healthy families, and volunteer services. The community health planning and statistics include Healthcare Navigator, Pinellas County Health and Human Services, Early Learning Coalition, Veteran Services, Environmental Health, and infectious disease services like STD testing. This facility is used by all ages of Tarpon Springs residents and is a great resource for the entire community. There are many skilled nursing, assisted living, and rehab and home health care agencies available within Tarpon Springs area. It mostly depends on patients' insurance or payment method for the availability of these services. Health-related resources availability. The 3 leading health indicators of Healthy People 2020. Number 1, access to health services. Access to health services is very important for the community's health and well-being. The health impact of having regular and reliable access to health services includes prevention of disease and disabilities, detect and treat illnesses or other health conditions, increase quality of life, reduce the likelihood of premature death, increase life expectancy. Number 2, clinical preventative services. Clinical preventative services include routine disease screening and scheduled immunizations. The clinical preventative services reduce the amount of deaths and disabilities while improving the nation's health. Number 3, environmental quality. Environmental health is very important because of having safe air, water, and land are fundamental for a healthy community. An environment free of hazards and toxins helps prevent diseases and other health problems. Parks and beaches. During the community assessment, I discovered many parks and beaches within the Tarpon Springs area. A.L. Anderson Park and Fred Howard Park are the biggest parks, both including shelters available to rent for parties. They both have playgrounds, nature trails, and waterfront access for boating, fishing. A.L. Anderson Park also has a huge dog park, where Fred Howard Park has an actual beach at the end of the causeway. The parks and beaches are not just adequate, but exceeds the needs for Tarpon Springs residents and tourists every year. The parks and beaches of Tarpon Springs are beautiful and well maintained by the city. The pictures are provided by the Pinellas County, Florida webpage. On the left is a picture of the best shelters available at A.L. Anderson Park, and the right is a picture of the beach of Fred Howard Park at the end of the causeway. Both beautiful. Environmental safety. The Tarpon Springs Police and Fire Department work together to keep the environment safe for citizens. The Public Works Department has the job of maintaining and repairing the water supply and sewage system. The Public Works Department is responsible for many aspects of environmental safety for Tarpon Springs. The Public Works Department includes facility maintenance, park maintenance division, that includes 15 parks listed, streets and stormwater, sanitation and recycling, and yard waste facility. These services provided for environmental safety are adequate for Tarpon Springs. Environmental concerns. As mentioned earlier in the presentation, the City of Tarpon Springs is considering major tax increases to address the needs of street flooding problems. This will increase safety for all residents and visitors during driving or walking through Tarpon Springs. There are many streets throughout Tarpon Springs that are very dark. Street lighting would increase safety in these areas. During the windshield survey, I did notice many potholes, cracks, and some poorly paved roads. Tarpon Springs has a budget for street maintenance, which is a must to maintain a street safe environment. Analysis of government and public policy, public officials. The Tarpon Springs Board of Commissioners includes Mayor Davis Archie, Vice Mayor Jeff Larson, and the 3 commissioners listed. The meeting schedule is available on the website, and they are open to the public. If a person cannot make it to the live meeting, these meetings are available on certain TV channels, or you can watch them on provided links on the internet. The website is user-friendly, and there's also a link that lets you email a government official with any questions or concerns. 6 overall community needs. In 2012, there were 75 homeless people in Pinellas County. The homeless population is the #1 community need for Tarpon Springs. The Tarpon Springs Police Department initiated the Homeless Outreach Project Endeavor, HOPE, which is run by the Shepherd Center. This program has increased the number of homeless in Tarpon. #2, poverty. Poverty is Tarpon Springs' 2nd community need listed. Poverty was chosen because of the amount of people living in poverty as well as racial disparities between the poor. The median household income is only $42,000. 14.8% of residents live below poverty level. 56.8% of African Americans who live in Tarpon live in poverty. In contrast, 11.8% of whites are impoverished. Crime rates are listed as #3 community need, because the city is taking strong action to prevent it. In 2012 alone, Tarpon Springs had 3 murders, 6 rapes, and 99 assaults. Another example of violence in the city is shooting death of Officer Charles Kondak. His murderer shot him, then ran him over while fleeing. Tarpon Springs has designated itself a trauma-informed community. This means they are acknowledging and preventing exposure to trauma, including physical and sexual abuse, poverty, and racism. The 4th community need listed is communicable disease rates. There are 3,475 people living with HIV or AIDS in Pinellas County as of 2010. Pinellas County operates a clinic in Tarpon Springs offering services to prevent the spread of communicable disease. These include vaccinations and testing for STIs. They also offer primary care and dental services at low or no cost. Obesity is number 5 for community needs of Tarpon Springs. It's important was chosen because of the amount of overweight people who were seen while conducting the windshield survey, and in recognition of the effort of the community is placing on combating the issue. 60% of Pinellas County is overweight or obese, and heart disease is the leading cause of death. The city, in combination with the local hospital, gyms, and restaurants, is sponsoring the Mayor's Fitness Challenge. The challenge encourages residents to exercise and eat well through a series of events. Road maintenance and safety was chosen as the number 6 most important community issue because of the author's experience during a windshield survey of Tarpon. Many of the roads have large cracks and potholes. This year's budget includes money to repair main roadways and is noted as an area of concern for the city. Global community issue: communicable disease prevention, HIV/AIDS. In South Africa, 17.9% of people have HIV/AIDS. In comparison, in Pinellas, roughly 0.03% of people have HIV/AIDS. As previously mentioned, Pinellas County's effort to combat the spread of HIV/AIDS includes education, testing, free condoms, and interventions to prevent transmission from mother to child. In addition to these measures, South Africa has the largest antiretroviral program in the world. Additional efforts include nationwide testing initiatives like mobile testing and in-home testing. Pinellas County, like South Africa, strives towards the goal of 0 new HIV infections, 0 discrimination, and 0 AIDS-related deaths. This is the end of my community analysis presentation of Tarpon Springs, Florida by Shannon Yacobellis. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a great day.